At dawn, the skies over Russia's Baltic coast erupted in flames. Ukrainian long-range drones pierced Moscow's vaunted defenses, striking the vital Primorsk oil port, a hub, pumping one-fifth of Russia's seaborne oil, turning the heart of its war economy into a blazing inferno. At midnight, the hum of engines broke the silence over Ukraine's forests. More than 70 drones, some lethal, others crafted from simple plywood, rose into the night sky. Their mission: to breach Russia's air defenses and strike the beating heart of its war economy, the Primorsk oil port on the Baltic coast. Two Shadow Fleet tankers, each worth hundreds of millions, were secretly loading crude there, defying international sanctions under fake flags. Ukraine's military intelligence chose this moment to strike, unleashing a mixed swarm of UJ-26 Boberer and AQ-400 Scythe drones, designed to confuse, overwhelm, and outsmart Russian radar. The Scythe decoys, light and low-flying, mimicked attack formations to draw fire. Behind them, the real killers, the modified Boberers, carried 40-kilogram warheads and stealth systems to slip unseen through Russian defenses. Banshee, 7 jamming drones flew alongside, emitting electronic noise that blinded radar and masked the approach of their companions. Following river valleys and forest canopies, the swarm flew in radio silence, invisible to satellites and sensors until it was too late. As dawn neared, Russian radar stations across Leningrad Oblast suddenly lit up with chaos. The Nebo VHF and Big Bird 9186E arrays detected dozens of fast-moving objects, erratic and unpredictable. Air defense sirens wailed over St. Petersburg as commanders scrambled S-400 and Panzer S-1 batteries to intercept the incoming storm. Operators, overwhelmed by false targets, mistook Ukraine's wooden decoys for a full-scale aerial invasion. Missiles and cannon fire filled the skies, shredding harmless drones while the true strike force slipped silently past the radar glare. The Ukrainian swarm divided into multiple paths, darting across Zilovsk, Tosno, and Makovskoye. Each diversion drew Russia's focus away from the real objective. Russian officers reported victories as radar screens cleared, unaware they had destroyed only ghosts. Their confidence sealed Primorsk's fate. Under the protective haze of jamming signals, 15 Boberer drones broke through the final defensive line. Banshee, 7 units blinded a Panzer battery near Volosovsky moments before it could lock on. Then, at 4:45 a.m., 7 Boberers reached Primorsk. They split into 2 formations, one attacking the port's vast pumping station, the other diving toward 2 massive tankers. A thermobaric warhead obliterated the control building, while follow-up strikes severed pipelines and ruptured manifolds. Moments later, explosions tore through the tankers Captain Lob and Sergei Gorshkov, igniting a sea of flame that engulfed the harbor. As fuel poured into the water and black smoke rose over the Baltic, Russia's illusion of control burned with it. Ukraine's strategy of deception and precision had turned plywood and circuitry into a weapon more devastating than steel, proof that ingenuity, not size, decides the future of war. Explosions thundered across Primorsk as more drones pierced the smoke-choked skies. 2 massive Aframax tankers, Kustau and Kun, part of Russia's covert Shadow Fleet, were struck in quick succession. The Kustau, weighing 115,000 tons, erupted into flames when a Boberer drone slammed into its cargo hold mid-loading. Moments later, Kun was engulfed after a drone tore through its fuel lines, igniting a wall of fire that raced along the pier. Control systems at the port failed instantly. Emergency shutdowns couldn't transmit through melted circuits. Primorsk, once the artery of Russia's oil exports, was now an inferno. By dawn, the fires raged unchecked. Rivers of crude oil fed the blaze, as thick black smoke billowed across the Baltic horizon. Yet Moscow's Ministry of Defense rushed to deny everything, claiming to have shot down 24 drones and prevented any successful strikes. Their words crumbled within hours. Satellite images captured blazing tankers, shattered pipelines, and a destroyed pumping station. The truth was undeniable. Primorsk, responsible for 1 million barrels per day, had gone dark, cutting $780 million in daily revenue from Moscow's war chest. The financial blow was staggering. Each destroyed Aframax tanker carried roughly 700,000 barrels of oil, together inflicting a $400 million loss. Even St. Petersburg's Pulkovo airport felt the shock, diverting 11 flights as radar interference and debris disrupted air traffic. Ukraine's long-range strike had succeeded, where few thought possible, overcoming distance, electronic warfare, and the myth of Russia's impenetrable air shield. The upgraded Bobber drones, fueled for missions over 1,000 kilometers, had overwhelmed decision-making and radar tracking across Leningrad Oblast. Behind this success was brilliance in deception. Banshee, 7 electronic warfare drones jammed Russian radars, while recovered wreckage near Usmino later revealed Ukrainian software capable of simulating false routes and fake attack paths. Russian defenses, designed to counter NATO aircraft, were blind to small, low-flying drones sneaking in under the radar horizon. Kronstadt Naval Base and the Baltic Fleet headquarters failed to even register the swarm until explosions were already blooming on the coast. Flying barely above tree level, the Bobber drones exploited the curvature of the Earth to vanish from radar until the last seconds of approach. By the time Russian operators realized what was happening, it was too late. Primorsk was suffering its worst attack in decades. Firestorms devoured tankers, control systems, and terminals, proof that size and strength alone couldn't defend against ingenuity. The message was unmistakable. Cheap, clever drones had crippled a superpower's economic lifeline. Ukraine's coordinated blend of decoys, electronic warfare, and precision strikes exposed the fatal gaps in Russia's air defense network, built for the wrong kind of war. Through calculation and creativity, Kyiv's planners turned Moscow's overconfidence against itself. In one night, small machines built of plywood and code rewrote the rules of modern warfare, proving that in the sky above Primorsk, intelligence beats might every time. As dawn broke over the Baltic, the final phase of Ukraine's operation unfolded with surgical precision. Russian radar operators, still celebrating what they believed was a total defense victory, didn't realize 7 Bobber drones were racing toward Primorsk's core. Within seconds, the thermobaric warheads detonated, releasing a crushing wave of pressure that obliterated the port's control building. The blast tore through steel and concrete, instantly crippling Primorsk's central systems. Flames from earlier tanker strikes spread rapidly, fed by leaking pipelines and ruptured fuel lines. The heart of Russia's oil export empire was burning out of control. Behind the wall of fire, Ukraine's planners executed the final deception. A wave of sacrificial decoy drones drew Russian S-400 missiles skyward, forcing Moscow to waste millions in ammunition on false targets. The real Bobberers pressed forward unchallenged, striking vital nodes with precision. Within minutes, Primorsk's daily output over 1 million barrels of crude ground to a halt. The economic shock rippled through Moscow's war budget, erasing billions in export revenue overnight. Ukraine's deep strike tactics revealed a new dimension of modern warfare. The drones navigated using terrain-hugging algorithms, slipping beneath Russia's radar horizon and scattering its defenses across Leningrad Oblast. Recovered debris near Pakhovskaya later exposed sophisticated navigation software designed to generate fake routes and false attack patterns. Russia's Baltic Fleet, stationed nearby, was caught entirely off guard, its sensors facing NATO, not Ukraine. The skies above Primorsk became a battlefield of ingenuity versus inertia. The destruction forced Moscow into crisis mode. With Primorsk offline, Russia's reliance on its Baltic terminals became a liability. Ukrainian swarms had overwhelmed command centers and radar networks, striking with precision where it mattered most: pipelines, tank farms, and export valves. Satellite imagery soon exposed the truth. Burning tankers, collapsed piers, and a control facility reduced to ash. Russia's claims of total defense success evaporated, replaced by the unmistakable glow of failure visible from orbit. The scale of devastation was historic. Fires raged for hours, lighting up the coastline and forcing emergency crews to retreat as explosions continued deep within the port. Ukraine's integration of decoys, jammers, and precision warheads had achieved what seemed impossible: a decisive strike deep inside Russia's own territory. The operation's success forced Moscow to divert resources from the front lines to protect other vulnerable energy hubs. South Ukrainian engineers had achieved a breakthrough. Using open-source intelligence, they mapped Primorsk's layout down to its pipelines and pumping grids. The upgraded Bobber drones, capable of flying 1,000 kilometers, marked a leap in long-range warfare. Russia's aging air defense grid, optimized for high-altitude bombers and NATO aircraft, proved useless against low-flying swarms, guided by algorithms and topographic data. Even beyond the battlefield, the chaos spread. Shockwaves from the explosions disrupted air traffic across St. Petersburg, grounding flights and paralyzing regional control systems. The Inferno at Primorsk became a symbol of asymmetry, low-cost drones defeating billion-dollar missile shields. The contrast was stark. Ukraine's plywood, body decoys versus Russia's costly S-400 interceptors. Brains had outmatched brute force. By exploiting Moscow's obsession with NATO threats, Ukraine struck where Russia least expected. The result was catastrophic. Halted oil exports, shattered infrastructure, and a strategic wound to the Kremlin's war economy. The Bober drones hit with pinpoint accuracy, their warheads gutting Primorsk's pumping network and leaving the port in ruins. As thick smoke drifted across the Baltic, the truth was undeniable. Ukraine's operation had changed warfare itself. Deception delayed Russia's response long enough for precision to finish the job. Primorsk's fires burned through the day, seen from satellites and distant coastlines alike, a testament to the new reality of combat. In one night, small, low-cost machines reshaped the future of war. The Primorsk strike proved that ingenuity, intelligence, and adaptation could cripple a superpower's economy not with fleets or armies, but with code, plywood, and courage.